What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you tune into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, man, in this video, I want to tell you why I think NBA teams are no longer would not really be interested in bringing Giannis in. You know, I know Giannis, like there's been a thing going back and forth where Giannis he want to leave, but he don't want to admit that he want to leave. You know, he want to seem like he's loyal. Um, but I think of all everything that Giannis has done as far as on this Milwaukee team is really kind of turned off other teams. That's because of the way they had to kind of cater to him in order for Giannis to stay there, right? And part of it is now too. Also, you got to think that Giannis is up in age. Giannis lately has been staying banged up and hurt and stuff like that. And I think that any team that has an opportunity right now to get over the hump and make the playoffs or potentially win a championship, those teams don't need Giannis. You know what I mean? When you look at like the OKC, you look at the Spurs, like those, he would not. They don't need him. He wouldn't fit in with them, right? Cleveland, I don't even think like Cleveland and New York. I don't even think he would fit in, and they would need him, right? But before I get into some more reasons of why Giannis wouldn't, why these NBA teams are not really liking or feeling Giannis right now, I'm gonna play what is it, The Odd Couple, and let these guys, and I want to react to basically what they're saying on The Odd Couple.
We got some news, and this is the story that just keeps on giving, and it's one that is hopefully now nearing its end because ESPN Shams Charania reported earlier on Monday that the Milwaukee Bucks are officially open for business on trade calls for two-time MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo. They hope to get a deal done before or the night of the NBA draft. Now the draft lottery is set. They feel like they have a better idea of what offers might become available. And before that, on Saturday, the Athletic's Sam Amick reported that if and when this comes to pass, where either Giannis demands the trade officially or the Bucks officially decide they're fielding offers, Giannis is reportedly going to have a heavy input on where he ends up. And he's already told sources that he'd like to, number one, stay in the Eastern Conference, and number two, play for a team that has a chance to win an NBA championship.
I got news for Giannis. No, thank you. I'm not interested. I'm not interested. If this was a couple years ago, I'm all over it. Giannis just doesn't seem the same to me. Always injured, banged up, doesn't make people better. They went and got him. They went out and got players, right, that he wanted. Rob G, what have they gotten for that? Has Milwaukee really been in the mix for the last 4 years?
No, and what Giannis needs to understand, and Bucks fans and NBA fans need to understand, is to your point, Rob, the reason that they are in this predicament right now is in large part because of Giannis. Every move that they have made has either been that his request or to make him happy. So they win a championship. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday, the two guys next to him. He decides, after they lose in the playoffs the following season, I need more scoring punch from my guards. Drew Holiday's great. He doesn't score enough. So let's flip him. They flip him. They bring in Damian Lillard, right? And then
Dame Dollar. Go back and read the clips, Rob G.
Absolutely.
Oh, my God. You won't be able to defend them. They're going to win the NBA championship. It is the perfect match. It's peanut butter and jelly.
And not so fast, right? My friend. No, didn't work out at all. Even before he got hurt, it wasn't working out. And on top of that, you go to the coach. They had Adrian Griffin there. He had like a 75 win percentage. And they said, you know what?
Oh, no good. Let's get rid of him. We need a veteran coach. Let's go get Doc, always giving up the lead in the postseason, Rivers, right? That was
Let me stop it right there, right? And I've always said this about, like, basketball players should just really stick to being basketball players, and teams that allow basketball players, even if they're the franchise basketball player, to be like general managers and pick teams or pick players, get rid of coaches, and bring their brother in and all that stuff right there is not conducive to winning. Like their main focus should be trying to get better as a franchise ball player and help their teammates get better so they can win. Once you take your focus off of that, as a player and you want the team to meet certain demands and stuff like that, it don't work. You didn't see that with Magic making demands on the Lakers. You didn't see that with Bird making demands. Isaiah, I can't recall Isaiah making demand. I know Isaiah got what they did bring in Mark Aguirre from Dallas, right? And maybe Isaiah, I think he did play a part in that bringing because him and Mark Aguirre are friends. But even Michael Jordan, when you think about Michael Jordan, like that management and ownership was notorious for telling Michael Jordan no. And Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. And if Michael Jordan, I don't think he asked for anything as far as like players though, but he didn't like Tony Kukoc, but they didn't care that Jordan didn't like Tony Kukoc or some of the moves that they made, and so Mike just focused on playing basketball. And Giannis, I thought when Milwaukee won their championship, I thought that this was going to be like the start of them, like he was going to just continue to get better and go up from there. But they got rid of the coach, Mike Budenholzer, which I thought was dumb. Right after the championship, you get rid of the coach. Then you bring in another coach I thought was a pretty good coach, Adrian Griffin. Giannis wasn't happy with him, so they bring in Doc Rivers. I thought it was goofy to get rid of it was a dumb decision to get rid of Holiday, right? Drew Holiday. You had a point guard that knew how to set the table and set the floor for those guys, and he fed Chris Middleton, Giannis, and Bobby Portis. He kept all those guys, he kept all those guys healthy. I mean, happy on the floor. And that's the point guard. Like the point guard had to distribute the ball in a way where everybody get the ball in the right places and everybody is pretty much content and happy with their role in the offense. So when they go down to the defensive end, they're going to perform down that end too. But Dame, if you look at Dame Lillard, like he don't bring those same type of point guard skills to the table. And a general manager should have known that. Like Dame, he just one-dimensional, a great scorer, but he's not going to set up Bobby Portis. He's not going to set up like Chris Middleton. Like those guys don't benefit from Dame being on the court. They don't really, unless Giannis knew how to make his teammates better, they don't really benefit from Giannis being on the court, right? So teams now are looking at Giannis, like, all right, and they saw what happened with Giannis, bending over backwards for Giannis, and where it got Milwaukee. Once they won that championship, the organization started to decline. So if you are a general manager, you're not going to want to bring that to your team. You and he's older too, so you be like, look. Now I know that Cleveland just bought in James Harden, right? But these older guys, and they're phasing out. These older guys are phasing out, and you just can't, hire somebody who you think is a mercenary is going to be able to get your team and win a championship. With GMs want to keep their job, and they're just going to start doing something different. They're going to go back to the old school way of basketball and just building their teams from the ground up, getting a group of kids together where as though these kids can build a chemistry, and whoever is your leader on that team, expect them to get better and make their supporting cast around them better. Like what they should have done, that should have been the demand on Giannis. Instead, Giannis made demands on the organization. The organization allowed that. They did get a championship out of it, right? But it should have been different as far as, like Giannis was allowed to be the GM. And I think, in my opinion, that's what hurt. That's what hurt this team. I thought that they were on to something when they won that first championship. They allowed Giannis to run the organization. Now you got Giannis, who is older, banged up, and his his style of play really, I mean, he could go somewhere, but not like one of these, not a top team in the East or a top team in the West. His skill set is something that maybe you probably could send him somewhere like Atlanta. You probably could send him somewhere like, like a team that's like Charlotte, maybe Charlotte. I don't know, because Charlotte is seeing like they up and coming too. It's sad to say, in my opinion, I think there's a select few teams that would really benefit from having Giannis, at this stage of his career. So that's my take on it. I just think that when you allow these guys, man, these franchise ball players to be player/GM, it just hurt them. And then now teams see that don't work out for them, and they're not really going to sign up for that. So that's my take. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'm going to check y'all out in the next video. Peace.